Imagine a spider crab with legs spanning 12 feet, a squid longer than a school bus, worms thick as your arm that glow in complete darkness. Now imagine all of these creatures living where the pressure would crush you instantly, like having 50 jumbo jets stacked on top of you. Welcome to the deep sea, where animals grow to absolutely monstrous sizes. Today, we're diving past 4 kilometers below the surface to answer one disturbing question. Why do creatures down there grow so freakishly huge? The answer involves strange science, evolutionary tricks that sound like fiction, and discoveries that have completely changed what we thought we knew about life on Earth. By the end of this video, you'll never look at the ocean the same way again. Let's descend into the abyss. First, we need to talk about what makes the deep sea so radically different. Because understanding why animals grow huge starts with understanding just how extreme this environment really is. And when I say extreme, I'm not exaggerating. Below 4,000 meters, the pressure reaches over 400 atmospheres. That's like having an elephant balanced on your thumbnail. Your lungs would collapse instantly, and you'd be compressed into a human pancake. Yet life not only survives down there, but thrives in ways that defy logic. Here's where it gets interesting. This crushing pressure is actually one of the keys to gigantism. Deep-sea creatures have evolved bodies with very few air spaces, flexible bones or no bones at all, and cells packed with special proteins that prevent crushing. The Japanese spider crab has an exoskeleton that handles the pressure while allowing those impossibly long 12-foot legs. These adaptations that protect them from pressure also remove many size limitations that animals face in shallow water. Now combine that with temperature. The deep ocean hovers around 2 to 4 degrees Celsius, just above freezing. Cold water does something remarkable to metabolism. When you're that cold, your metabolic rate drops significantly. These creatures live life in slow motion. A giant squid's heart might beat just a few times per minute. But slower metabolism means something crucial. These animals survive on far less food. In the deep sea, food is incredibly scarce. Most creatures might only eat once a month or even every few months. Their slow metabolism becomes a superpower. They can go long periods without eating. And here's the kicker. When they do find food, instead of burning it quickly, they divert more resources toward growth. Slow and steady literally wins the race. This brings us to another mind-blowing factor: longevity. The Greenland shark can live for over 400 years, making it the longest-lived vertebrate on Earth. Some deep-sea clams have been aged at over 500 years. When you have centuries to grow, and you're growing consistently throughout your life, you reach absolutely massive sizes. It's like compound interest for body mass. Now here's the oxygen paradox. You'd think there wouldn't be much oxygen in the deep sea, and oxygen levels are lower than shallow waters. But cold water actually holds more dissolved oxygen than warm water. Deep sea giants have evolved incredibly efficient ways to extract this oxygen. Their blood contains special proteins that grab oxygen molecules and refuse to let go. But there's more. It involves one of the strangest rules in biology. Kleiber's law states that larger animals are more energy efficient than smaller ones. This applies even more dramatically in the deep sea. A giant isopod needs less food per gram of body weight than its tiny, shallow water cousins. Being huge is actually an energy-saving strategy down there. This creates a feedback loop of gigantism. Pressure allows larger bodies. Cold slows metabolism. Slow metabolism enables survival on scarce food. Scarce food favors energy-efficient bodies. Long lifespans allow extended growth. All these factors reinforce each other, creating the perfect storm for monstrous proportions. Nature found a cheat code in the deep ocean, and these creatures are exploiting it to the max. Let's talk about predation, because in the deep sea, the entire predator-prey dynamic is turned upside down. This has massive implications for why animals grow so large. In surface waters, being huge can be a disadvantage, but down in the abyss? Different story entirely. First, visibility is essentially zero. Below 1,000 meters, no sunlight penetrates. It's perpetual midnight. In this darkness, normal predator advantages vanish. You can't chase what you can't see. Most hunting happens by chance encounter, detecting vibrations, or following chemical signals that take hours to track. In this environment, being huge helps you survive. If predators hunt mainly by chance in the darkness, a larger body means better physical defenses when found. The giant squid doesn't worry about most predators because it's simply too big. Its only real predator? Sperm whales, which are themselves massive. When you're huge, you graduate to a different food chain tier with far fewer threats. Another twist: the scarcity of predators itself allows gigantism. In shallow waters, intense predation pressure creates selective pressure toward being fast, camouflaged, or small enough to hide. But in the deep sea, with fewer predators and much more space, these pressures relax. You can afford to grow large and slow because the chance of encountering a predator in that vast darkness is relatively low. This brings us to bioluminescence. About 90% of deep-sea creatures produce their own light. The giant squid has the largest eyes of any animal, up to 10 inches in diameter, bigger than dinner plates. Why? Because detecting even the faintest bioluminescent glow can mean the difference between eating and starving. Size matters when gathering light in near-total darkness. Now let's talk about marine snow. Marine snow is the constant rain of organic material falling from the surface. Dead plankton, feces, bits of dead fish. It's the primary food source down there. Larger animals with larger mouths capture more of this falling food. The giant sea spider, with its massive leg span, creates a wider net. In a food-scarce environment, having a bigger catching surface is a survival advantage. But the real jackpot: whale falls. When a whale dies and sinks, it's like winning the lottery. A single carcass provides 50 to 100 tons of food, where organisms normally go months between meals. Whale falls create oases of life on the ocean floor. And who dominates these feeding frenzies? The giants. Giant isopods, sleeper sharks, hagfish, all large enough to rip through whale blubber that smaller creatures can't access. This creates boom and bust survival that favors large animals. When food appears, you need to eat as much as possible. Large animals have larger stomachs and store more energy. Some deep-sea sharks can eat 20% of their body weight in one feeding and then not eat for months. Their bodies are walking food storage units. This feast or famine lifestyle suits large animals perfectly. And here's something that drives home the difference. Many giants are scavengers, not hunters. The giant isopod is basically a deep-sea garbage truck crawling along eating dead things. The hagfish burrows into dead whale carcasses and eats them from inside out. These aren't apex predators. They're opportunistic feeders who grew large to maximize each rare food source. The most important factor? Absence of competition. In shallow waters, ecological niches are packed. But the deep sea is so vast and sparsely populated that there's room for creatures to expand into sizes that would never work elsewhere. When competition is low, pressure to stay small is replaced by pressure to grow large and capitalize on rare opportunities. This is the paradox. In the harshest environment on Earth, animals grow larger because those very conditions remove the limitations that keep animals small everywhere else. Now let's talk evolution. Because gigantism isn't just a quirk of physics, it's millions of years of evolutionary pressure creating the most bizarre creatures on the planet. And these patterns tell us about both the past and potentially the future of ocean life. Deep-sea gigantism was first observed over 140 years ago. In 1878, naturalist Henry Nottage Moseley noted that deep-sea creatures seemed disproportionately large. But this isn't random. Gigantism appears in specific groups with certain traits in common. Crustaceans are the poster children, and there's a reason. Giant isopods, amphipods, and spider crabs all share an exoskeleton that must be molted to grow. In shallow water, molting is dangerous. You're vulnerable. But in the deep sea, with fewer predators, molting becomes less risky. These animals continue molting throughout their lives. Some giant isopods have over 40 molt cycles. Over decades or centuries, this adds up to massive proportions. But it's not just crustaceans. Squids became spectacular examples. The giant squid reaches over 40 feet, and the colossal squid may reach 46 feet and weigh up to 1,500 pounds. These descended from much smaller ancestors but grew enormous as a deep-sea adaptation. Their massive size allows hunting large prey. Their enormous eyes detect prey in darkness. Their intelligence maximizes every hunting opportunity. This brings up convergent gigantism. Convergent evolution is when unrelated species independently evolve similar traits from similar pressures. In the deep sea, we see convergent gigantism across wildly different animal groups. Giant squids, isopods, amphipods, sea spiders, all from different evolutionary lineages, but all evolved toward larger sizes. This tells us gigantism isn't a fluke. It's a successful strategy that keeps appearing because it works. And we're still discovering new giants. In 2020, scientists discovered a new giant amphipod species in the Atacama Trench, over 10 inches long, more than 20 times larger than typical amphipods. In 2021, researchers found what might be a new giant jellyfish with tentacles stretching over 100 feet. Every year, expeditions discover creatures that rewrite what we thought possible. And we've only explored about 5% of the ocean floor. There could be something even more massive lurking in unexplored depths. Is there a limit to how large deep-sea creatures can grow? Theoretically, yes, but we might not have found it. At some point, physics sets a limit. An animal can only get so large before its weight becomes a problem, its circulatory system can't pump blood efficiently, or its nervous system becomes too slow. But where exactly that limit is remains unknown. We might find one twice as large next year. But here's what should concern us. Climate change and deep-sea mining could disrupt these conditions. The deep ocean is warming. Ocean acidification affects even the deepest waters. And there's increasing interest in mining the ocean floor, destroying habitats that took millions of years to develop. If we disrupt the deep-sea ecosystem, we could lose these giants before we understand them. There's another angle: what these giants teach us about life elsewhere. If life thrives in the crushing pressure, freezing temperatures, and darkness of the deep ocean, it can potentially exist in similar conditions on other worlds. Jupiter's moon Europa has an ocean beneath ice. Saturn's moon Enceladus has hydrothermal vents. These environments might be remarkably similar to Earth's deep sea. The giant isopod might be our best analog for alien life. But let's bring this back to Earth. These creatures represent life's incredible ability to adapt to any environment, no matter how hostile. They show us that the rules we think govern biology aren't rules. They're guidelines that life can bend. Every deep-sea giant is a testament to evolution's creativity. Here's the final takeaway. We know less about the deep ocean than the surface of Mars. Every expedition reveals new species, new behaviors, new ecosystems. The giants we've discovered are probably just the beginning. There are trenches never explored, vast abyssal plains where only creatures we've never imagined leave footprints. So next time you're at the beach, remember, just miles offshore, the bottom drops into crushing darkness. And in that world, there are monsters, real monsters, actual creatures that have grown to sizes that defy belief. They're down there right now in the last great wilderness on Earth, living lives stranger than any fiction. The deep sea holds its secrets well, but every secret reveals that nature's imagination exceeds our own. If this deep dive blew your mind, hit that like button and subscribe for more ocean mysteries. Drop a comment. What deep sea creature freaks you out the most? Check out the video I'm linking for more bizarre evolutionary strategies in extreme environments. The ocean is 70% of our planet, and we've barely scratched the surface. Thanks for watching. Stay curious,